Hey guys, so today we're going to do a little change of pace and we are going to restore this beautiful vintage universal gas stove. This is a customer stove. He dropped it off for restoration. I basically do three different levels of restoration when it comes to vintage stoves. The first step is just a clean up, make it safe, make it work. That is usually the least expensive method, and basically all I do is rebuild all the gas valves, I calibrate all four burners, I recalibrate the oven, and I do a very thorough detail cleaning of the stove without going too deep. I don't actually disassemble the stove. I just a little bit deeper than superficial, if that makes any sense. And I also rewire the stoves if they're needed. This customer chose option one, which is basically I'm going to rebuild all the valves, and I'm going to try and get the clock working and get the light working, and I'm going to calibrate everything and do a pretty thorough deep cleaning of this stove and make it look very respectable and fully functional. That's the most important part. So let's take a closer look and see what it is. Alright, so zooming into the front here, this is a pretty basic stove. There's really not a whole lot going on. You have your timer, which isn't even a clock. It doesn't look like it has anything for a clock. So it's just a timer. You have a single outlet, and this light is for the panel light. There also is another light right here. This obviously runs the oven light. Looking at the back of it, let's see if I could get some good light back here. Okay, so looking at the back, you see this is the clock timer assembly. All these grody looking wires and whatever. It's really not that difficult though. You just have a couple of wires that are spliced together, the hot and neutrals, and then you have your two kind of main wires that go to this cord, which then go to the outlet, and then you have these two wires with an interrupter switch that goes to the front. This runs the oven light. So very simple. There's the beast back there. That's the thermostat, and this other valve to your right is the actual broiler valve. There's no adjustment on that. It's just on or off. The thermostat actually does regulate temperature. So we're going to first start by taking it apart and cleaning it. But before we do any of that, we're actually going to plug it in and see what happens. We're going to put power to it, and I'm actually going to turn the gas on, and we're going to check and see what does what and what doesn't do anything. Okay, so we got the gas on, and the first thing you want to do when you have the gas on is to use your nose and check for some obvious leaks. Now, I already did that. There's no major leaks, or there's actually no leaks whatsoever. But whenever you hook up a gas stove for the first time, you definitely want to get, there's a soapy bubble solution, or you could use soap and water and put it on every connection that you could find. See if it bubbles. If you have bubbles, then you have a gas leak. If you don't have bubbles, then you're just kind of pre-washing everything. So let's get a little closer, and we're going to check out the burners. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift these bowls out. Now these are just going to get cleaned. The actual grates, I'm probably going to clean them, recoat them, or I might just re-season them with oil. So we'll see. But that's for a later date. That's for a different... So the first thing we want to do is we want to see if we can light the pilot. Now most vintage stoves use one pilot that shares between the two of them. Is it lit? Yes, it's lit. It's barely visible. So let's just see what happens. Hey, that burner works. So although this burner works, you can see it's burning very poorly. You shouldn't ever get these goopy yellow flames pointing out. this is an indication that your air fuel mixture is wrong. So an ideal flame, you'll have, and it's very difficult to get a perfect flame on these because these do not have gas regulators. But so we could do it, really close, but this is definitely unacceptable. This will get your pots and pans all black and sooty. There's two adjustments that we can do, and I'll show you. Okay, sorry, this is bad lighting, but basically you have two adjustments. This is an air shutter, and basically you would undo the screw and you can open and close this shutter and it'll add or put less air. So, and then right behind there's a nut that you can turn that will increase or reduce the amount of gas that's actually flowing through here. I feel like we have enough gas. I feel like we don't have enough air. So I'm going to try and open this shutter. So it seems no matter what I do, it does not change anything. And if I open the air shutter all the way, it should be sucking in more air. Gosh, I'm such an idiot. I just unscrewed the back burner. That's why it's not doing anything. I should save that for the blooper reel. Well, this is how you do it, guys. And here I am doing the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Now we see some changes happening. All right, so every time you make an adjustment, you have to wait. You have to wait for all of the fuel that's already in the tubes get spent and the right mixture to come through. So you kind of want to make an adjustment, wait 5 seconds, make another adjustment. So this is it with it all the way up, and it's definitely much better, but it doesn't look quite right. And there's a lot of garbage in there. So whenever you tap the burners and it turns orange, it means you're burning something, which is probably rust or whatever. And so all of my goop here could just be rust inside the burner that's making it do that. So I'm going to actually take these tops off and I'm going to send these burner bases out to get sandblasted. And then I'm going to repaint them, and then it'll probably work perfect. And then I'll just have to make some small adjustments. We were just toying around with the gas, but we're going to forego that for the moment. We're going to kind of pull everything out so we could get these burner heads ready for the sandblaster. These are called flash tubes, and these are pretty important. You don't want to lose those. So basically this burner is two-piece. So there's this top aluminum piece, and it's screwed on the bottom here, and these screws are pretty rusty, so we'll see if we can get them loose. And we'll put the screw back in so we don't lose it. And so here we have is just a rusty old burner, but it'll look like new once we get it back from the sandblasters. Okay, I actually think I'm ready to remove the cooktop. So most of these older stoves, you actually have to lift on the back and then slide it forward from the top. So we're going to spin around on the other side and see. It looks like it's going to come free. I think I still have to undo the oven light switch, and that might be about it. I think we might be good to go after that. But we're going to give it one more once over, and then hopefully it should just slide out without any problem.